Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Akil Palanisamy, integrative physician with the Sutter Health Institute for Health and Healing. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the mind-body connection and also discussing specifically placebos, hope, and the power of a positive attitude, and some gratitude practices as well. So we're going to get started by looking at the mechanism that mediates the mind-body connection. And that is primarily the fight or flight reaction. And so in our body, we have the fight or flight, which is mediated by the sympathetic nervous system, which is our body's equivalent of the gas pedal. And this is the primal response of our nervous system that kept us alive in the jungle. The sympathetic nervous system is associated with what we learned in medical school as the 4 Fs, which are fight, flight, fear, and sex. And this response raises your blood pressure, your heart rate, your blood sugar, and redirects blood away from your non-essential organs so you can either fight or flee appropriately. And the body, in its wisdom, does have a brake as well to balance this gas pedal, and that's the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system helps to lower blood pressure, slow the heart rate, raise your immune system, and restore digestion. So all mind-body techniques such as yoga, meditation, qigong, breathing techniques, relaxation exercises, all have the capacity to activate this parasympathetic nervous system. And so this sympathetic and nervous and parasympathetic balance is what is really mediating the mind-body connection. Now I'm going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is this idea of the placebo. And a placebo is defined as an inert substance that supposedly has no effect. But actually, studies show that these placebos have a very real effect on physiology. And in fact, there's a difference in terms of the degree of the effect. So there was this interesting study which told patients with Parkinson's disease that they were going to receive a new injectable medication. It was actually just a saline injection. One group was told that they were going to receive an expensive, state-of-the-art brand name drug, and the other one was told they're going to get a cheap, new, generic medication that is fairly inexpensive. Now, both patients actually showed improvement in their symptoms of Parkinson's disease, but those patients receiving the more expensive treatment had a greater improvement in terms of tremor and muscle stiffness than patients who were receiving the cheap medicine. So it's interesting because in this case, both groups did improve, but those who believed that they were getting something very expensive, very powerful, very, presumably effective, had a greater improvement. So I think that's very fascinating. There was another study which looked at placebo surgery, and this was looking at patients with knee osteoarthritis. And patients received either the traditional knee arthroscopy with debridement, which is a conventional treatment, or a sham surgery where all aspects of the surgery were simulated, the incisions were made, and the doctors were there for the same duration. And after this study, they did a survey, and patients couldn't tell, in fact, whether they had the real surgery or a sham surgery, so that the blinding was very effective. And at the end of both 1 and 2 years, pain reduction and improvement in function were identical in both groups, patients who actually had knee surgery and patients who had the sham surgery. So what this indicates is that the body does have an incredible ability to heal itself, especially when it believes that it should be getting better. So if you have had knee surgery, major intervention, then your body gets that signal that, yes, I should be getting better. I just had surgery. And what that means is that the power of belief, expectation, and hope to translate into real major physical differences and healing is profound. And I think that we should all trust in our body's ability to heal itself because it does have a strong capacity to do so. Now, I'm going to talk about placebos and the gut, and that's mediated by the gut-brain axis. So this is pictured here, where we have the brain and the blood-brain barrier, and stress actually directly activates stress hormones, which cause what's called a leaky gut and leads to pro-inflammatory cytokines. But when you activate the parasympathetic nervous system through the vagus nerve, that leads to anti-inflammatory cytokines, which help with sealing any leaky gut that's going on and counterbalancing this inflammation. So that's the effect of the, again, sympathetic and parasympathetic on the gut-brain connection. So let's look at placebos for gut disorders. So patients with irritable bowel syndrome, which is a digestive condition, improved on placebos even when they were told they were taking a placebo. So they were told that they were going to be given placebo pills, and they were told that placebos could potentially improve their IBS symptoms through mind-body self-healing processes. And 60% of placebo patients actually improved compared to only 35 patients in the no treatment group. So this was a very interesting study done at Harvard by the pioneering researcher, Dr. Kapchuk. So along those lines, I think that there's interesting data on the effects of a positive attitude on health and immune function. So there are actually 83 studies which show that optimists enjoy better health in areas such as longevity, cancer survival, various physical symptoms, and immune function. So a positive attitude appears to improve in different studies, T cell counts, natural killer cell levels, interleukins, and other markers of immune function. This was a quote by the Indian teacher Paramahansa Yogananda, who said, "Avoid a negative approach to life. Why gaze down the sewers when there's loveliness all around us? Life has a bright side and a dark side. Look only for the good in everything." And, you know, I believe this is very relevant now, given the current crisis and all of us having to change our daily routines. So the way to implement this in terms of some practical tips is to reframe how you think about specific situations. So for example, if you are tired of working from home, then think about how it's actually positive that you have a job, because so many people have been laid off and are out of work. So just having a job is not a trivial matter. If you are feeling very restless from having to work from home all the time, be grateful to have a home, because think of those people who are homeless and really struggling right now to survive. And if your kids are going crazy, I can relate to that. Then think about how it's one is very fortunate to have kids, because many people don't have that opportunity. There's also a growing body of research on gratitude, which shows benefits including better sleep, improved well-being, less depression, and improved relationships. So in terms of how to implement gratitude, one simple technique is to write a short email expressing your gratitude to someone in your life, could be from work or personal life, once a week, and be very specific, thanking them and letting them know what are the things that you appreciate about them. And the key is to be really detailed. So I've done this for some time, and the responses from people are really surprising. Very few of us get thanked and appreciated regularly. So when that happens, people really notice, and it's quite meaningful, and you also get that benefit of sharing your gratitude. Other ways to practice are keeping a gratitude journal, or one practice as well is at the end of your day, thinking about a couple of things that you are grateful for. Now, the key with these methods is you have to be very specific and detailed. So at the end of your day, if you just think, well, I'm grateful for my work and family, that is not really going to be helpful. So instead, if at the end, if you think about a moment during your day, reflect back, and for example, when your daughter told you how much she appreciated you spending more time with her and how much she loved you, that image and moment could really carry a lot more benefit and weight in terms of practicing gratitude. So try to be very concrete and granular in the recollection, and just have that feeling of gratitude in your heart, and that has been shown to have all these physical benefits as we talked about. So just to conclude, I think I'd like to share this quote, which is hundreds of years old from the book Paradise Lost by John Milton. And he wrote that the mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. So I think that we all have an element of control and choice in terms of how we frame situations, choosing that positive attitude, learning to reframe things as we talked about, incorporating those gratitude practices, maybe sending that weekly email, trying a gratitude journal or the nightly reflection. I think these are all underappreciated and surprisingly powerful practices that can impact our health in a positive way, and both physically and mentally, help us to deal with this current crisis. So thank you very much, and be well and stay safe.